Hello, Boba Fett fans. I'm Chelsey B. Coombs, a contributor for Boba Fett Fan Club, and today we're going to check out Hasbro's Deluxe Vintage Collection Jango Fett. Jango Fett is kind of having a bit of a moment right now, and we're reviewing the new Jango Fett Marvel comic on our site, bobafettfanclub.com, so make sure to check that out too. Anyway, let's dive into the figure review. So here's what comes inside. We've got, obviously, a bunch of legal papers. Don't really need that. The figure itself is right here, as well as a bunch of accessories. So before we get to the figure itself, let's take a look at what the accessories are. All right, so first up, we have this flame effect for the gauntlet. This looks really nice. I love the different colors of this like transparent plastic that they use. Just be careful with these. I found in other action figures, when you have something like this where this front part that attaches is really, really thin, but there's this heavy thing right here. Sometimes the plastic has a tendency to like curve, and you can kind of fix that by like heating it up a little bit with like a heat gun or like a hair dryer. Just be very careful. But yeah, just be careful with that, and I'll show you how it plugs in to his gauntlet in a second. Then here we have two more of those flame effects. These go into the jetpack. We'll see how well those fit in a second. Here is the jetpack. I am really kind of amazed by how much detail they actually put onto the paint job of this. Obviously here there's like a little bit of like a misprint, which is fine. Like, you know, it happens. But usually these kinds of accessories aren't painted this well. And this has this metallic paint. And we talked to Hasbro back in December, and we actually found out that all of this like metallic paint is part of the reason why it's a little bit more expensive as a figure. So just keep that in mind. But I'm really glad that they added this extra paint detail. This isn't always what they do for, you know, their figures, just to keep costs down, but this looks really, really great. We have his extra helmeted head right here. So you'll be able to pop off his, you know, regular face and put on his helmet, and the rangefinder moves. That's exciting. That's a good feature. Sometimes with these like smaller figures, they don't put in this like little point of articulation, but that looks pretty good. And again, beautiful metal paint here. And you'll just put this on to the ball joint, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. And then finally, we've got his two blasters. These ones are made out of just like kind of a metallic-y silver metal. It would have been cool to have a little bit more paint detail on here, but you know, that would have increased the price even more. So let's take a look at the figure itself. Let's see, we gotta get him out of here, out of his little cage. Ooh. He's been freed. Thank goodness. All right, this is a really, really great looking figure. I love the likeness to Temuera Morrison, who played Jango Fett and also Boba Fett, obviously, in the Book of Boba Fett and The Mandalorian. Let's see, we've got some nice like scar details here that are painted on, which again, like having those kinds of details really does help make a figure look more lifelike, but it costs a little bit more money, right? So we've got that. Let's take a look all the way around him. Oh yeah, and as I was saying before, you can see this really nice, shiny silver metallic paint on his armor. I love this. Oh, look at that. They even painted right here on the gauntlet, that kind of like orange color there. Oh, all right. That's pretty cool. That's really cool that they got that kind of detail on there. You can see like the serial number here also kind of painted in silver, which that's not my favorite, but where else are you going to put it, right? Although I guess they have it on his little boots too. But you see here, he's got his like holster and like his packs and everything. And again, a little bit of a misprint right here. If you can see that on his little holster, but like, you know, it is what it is. It's kind of just there for like the effect, right? A little bit of a misprint there too. But again, unless you're like a crazy collector, you know, whatever. Obviously, we have all these little tubes. Again, be careful with these little things. You know, you never know when they might kind of come out. It looks like this one actually might come out. Hard to tell. I don't want to mess with it, so I'm not going to. And then here in the back, obviously, look at how shiny that is. Okay, I can't believe that. I keep getting distracted by shiny things, but here we have the little hole here for the peg of the jetpack to fit in. Let's see how well that does right now. Oh wow, it really just went right in there. Sometimes you have to kind of fight with it to get those in there. All right, so we got his jetpack on him. Let's give him his blasters. Let's see. Put these in here into his little holsters. Oh, he's looking pretty badass, if you ask me. Love this. Love all of this. I think this is a very cool figure. Let's see if we can get this into this flame effect into his gauntlet. Again, be really careful. Here, obviously, there is a little hole there that you'll plug this into. Oh, see, I like messed it up. I bent it. So you have to be very careful. Be very careful when you're doing this. All right. Try not to like force it in there. Ooh, there we go. Ooh, did not work. Let's see. Maybe we can try a little bit more. Let's see here. Again, just be careful with this because it's not really meant to be kind of like forced in there. See, we've got it in. I'm a little worried that it might come off, but that looks pretty nice. Again, remember what I said, how it kind of like bends down. So you kind of have to be careful that the plastic doesn't bend on you, but, oh, and it came out. So that is not ideal. If I would love to be able to like pose him with this flame effect, but I'm very afraid that, oh, it's staying a little bit better now. Maybe you just need to kind of open up this little hole that it actually goes into a little bit. All right, well, look at that. That's looking pretty good. Love that. Again, just be careful because this flame will kind of bend over time as gravity takes its toll. But that looks really great. Let's see. Let's try to put in the flame effects here into his jetpack. This is kind of like a softer plastic here, so you can see it kind of moves around a little bit as you try to put these in here. There we go. Oh. These have never really been like super great, especially when you've got a like action figure at this scale. It's kind of hard to make these little tiny things work perfectly. Kind of just have to ease them in a little bit, but look at that. That looks pretty cool that he's got this cool flame effect. There's some really cool stuff you can do with like flight stands that would be really nice. I really like how realistic this fire looks. You know, it's obviously you've got the different colors, but looking into the viewfinder right now, I like really think that's awesome. I think that looks great. So here he is with his unhelmeted version of himself. Oh, the flame just came off. That's gonna happen. So, you know, just be careful with this. Let's see here. Let's take off this and these flames just for now so that we don't have to worry about those. And let's take off his head. So sorry, Jango, for bringing up this trauma. I know that, you know, Mace Windu kind of did the same thing, but here we go. Ugh. You don't have to really worry about being too careful. You know, it comes off pretty easily. Here you've got the peg. And let's put his helmet on. Oop. It'll take a little bit of work to bring that on there. Let's see. Ah, there, I heard it click. So now, here is Jango in his helmeted form. Love this. Like, once again, I love that the viewfinder will come down and up, and you can see just what he looks like in all of his full armor. Let's see how well the blasters fit into his hand. Ooh. Oh, surprisingly well, I think. There we go. Whoop, coming out. There we go. All right. Looks a little wonky here. Let's keep trying. Again. There. Okay. So once you kind of get it into his hand like this, it fits really snugly. Okay, nice. That's really cool. Sometimes the hands don't necessarily fit the blasters the best. Let's try his other one. Whoop, and of course it like falls out as soon as I try to put the other one in, which is great. Love that. Let's see. There, got that one in. Let's maneuver this one again. All right, here we go. All right, we've got Jango here with his 2 blasters. Get him in there, guns a-blazing. Oh man, this is a really great looking figure, I think, overall. I really love, again, I keep talking about this metallic paint, but this is just, it's like chef's kiss. Like, great job, Hasbro, with this paint. You know, some of the paint apps aren't necessarily the best, but it's, you know, a very tiny figure, so it's not like I'm freaking out really about that. We're not really going to see that. I think the Tamara Morrison likeness is extremely, extremely good. And I love that they incorporated these little scar details here and painted them. It really just adds, you know, a little bit more lifelike to the character itself, who obviously, you know, there's millions of him walking around, but not all of them have scars that look like that. And then, of course, we've got these flame effects. You know, they kind of are what they are. Many action figures that have these flame effects is not necessarily the best fit, and over time they do kind of like sag, but it seems to be pretty good here, you know. Check that out. Yeah, I probably won't display him with the flame effects just because I don't want this to break any more than I already broke it when I kind of bent it around. But if that happens, again, just use a heat gun and kind of mold the plastic back into place a little bit and it should be fine. But overall, I would give Hasbro's Deluxe Vintage Collection Jango Fett a 4 out of 5 stars. I love the metallic paint on his armor and the fact that there are paint details on the jetpack and the helmet, which is huge because not every figure has that. And that's part of the reason the retail price is $24.99, which is a bit more expensive than the mainline price of $16.99. But there was a little bit of misalignment on some of the figure's paint details, so I took off a few points for that. I really like what the flame accessories look like with the multi-tone transparent plastic because they look like fire, but they're a little hard to get into their connections on the gauntlet and the jetpack, and the flamethrower effect droops with gravity, and that's not that big of a deal, but if you're going to be displaying your Jango flame throwing, keep in mind that the plastic may become a little bit warped over time, which is usually fixable with a heat gun or a hairdryer.
I'm really glad that Hasbro decided to give us a helmeted head and a non-helmeted head, because there have been some issues in the past with scale when the helmet is made to go over the figure's head. It just looks way too big. And I have to say, the likeness to Tamura Morrison as Jango, including those painted facial scars, really impressed me. I mean, it really actually looks like him. I wish he'd come with a poncho like previous 3.75 scale versions of the character have, but the metallic paint does go a long way in justifying the higher price. I'm really fingers crossed hoping that Hasbro does the same for a retooled Black Series Jango Fett. Hasbro, get on that, please. You can grab Hasbro's Deluxe Vintage Collection Jango Fett from Hasbro Pulse or other fan channel distributors like Entertainment Earth, GameStop, Big Bad Toy Store, etc. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss any Fett news, and we're all over social media, so check us out. See you later.